Hello, I'm Ann Sinsheimer, and I'm a professor of legal writing at the University of Pittsburgh School of Law. So at Pitt Law, we've been particularly focused on two types of interventions to promote psychological safety, both designed to normalize the common anxieties that students experience and to humanize students' interactions with peers and faculty. The first approach, more labor-intensive, is a faculty-led discussion. The other approach is an online intervention in the form of a survey. Both styles place students in the role of expert and helper. We'd like to encourage our students to anchor their self-worth in things beyond their performance at a given point in time. For example, grades and interview results. The intervention becomes a means for students to reframe their narrative. For example, they can come to see feedback not as a statement of their worth, but as a necessary step in the learning process, framing grades and interview results as an opportunity to receive valuable feedback that can be used to improve. As they share experiences, students discover that it's normal to feel uncertain at times, part of the process in fact, but it isn't a sign that they shouldn't be studying law. Another example of reframing that Dr. Fatui offers our students as an antidote to FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is the joy of missing out, or JOMO. The process of the discussion-based intervention requires gradually building the level of disclosure. I begin by framing this as a process that I, as a representative of the law school, use to understand current students' experiences. They know me well, but if they didn't, I'd begin with an icebreaker, maybe sharing a guilty pleasure, for example. Then I ask small, easy, engaging questions that don't require too much personal vulnerability. For example, what are the biggest challenges that students might be facing? I move then to more open-ended questions that students can respond to anonymously. For example, what's going well? What's not going so well? What are you feeling about Pitt Law at this moment? I like to use Poll Everywhere, but I've watched others use sticky notes, having students write 3 good and 3 bad experiences on the note with no name attached. I share these responses, sometimes sharing common themes through a word cloud. Once some themes emerge, I invite people to talk, asking if any of the themes relate to their own experiences. Usually this gets people talking. Finally, at the end of the discussion, I shift to what's going well for them or ask them to share their strategies, maybe asking them to provide advice. I share my own experiences, which I believe is crucial. As we are asking them to be vulnerable, we should be willing to be vulnerable too. I thank them for their courage, for sharing their thoughts, and invite them to reach out with any questions or follow-up comments.
Hi, I'm Andrelli St. Val. I am an associate professor of legal writing at the University of Pittsburgh School of Law. An assignment that I like to start the year off with and that helps to foster psychological safety at the outset is the Culture Box assignment. Students are sent the assignment prompt before classes begin. I explain that learning law is like exploring a new culture and that we're going to take time to explore their cultural backgrounds before we explore the legal culture. They are then told to bring 2 to 3 items that represent who they are, what they think about the law, and why they want to pursue a law degree. On the first day of class, I do a short 2-minute introduction, and then we spend the rest of the time with students presenting their culture box. They have 3 minutes each to do so. I tell them to be sure to pay attention to their colleagues because they will turn in a reflection assignment on what they have learned about one another. I start us off by presenting my very own culture box. We do not talk about the syllabus, course assignments, or anything else. The focus is solely on who we are individually and why we are pursuing a law degree. Having students identify their why and saying it out loud to others is empowering. It also helps to set the tone for the class. I am always surprised by how open, honest, and vulnerable students are. This assignment is my absolute favorite way to start the year. In their reflections, Students talk about how the assignment helps to reduce some of the stress and anxiety they have about being in such a hyper-competitive environment, how it humanizes them and our class. It also helps to promote psychological safety.
To learn more about psychological safety, see the information below.